We're going to go straight into our conversation for this morning. Now, this morning, we're talking about the state of policing in Ghana. This year alone, there have been a number of very high-profile murders. There was the murder of Mr. Swale. There's been the murder of Mrs. Asante as well. And also, more recently, the kidnapping cases have come out. There's a lot of insecurity in our society right now because when these things happen, we expect that the police will be swift and that they will handle things in a skillful and urgent manner. And we find out increasingly so that is not the case, especially with this kidnapping issue. The first kidnapping happened in August. The most recent one was on December 21st. We find that even though the police have suspects in custody, we do not know the whereabouts of these girls. So this morning we're going to be talking about what's going on with our police whilst we follow through this story of the kidnapping issue as well as the recent murders. We want to talk about how our police are recruited, how they're trained. Do they have the resources that they need to function? Are they trained in a way that equips them to be skillful, to be urgent, and to do the necessary in the moment? Are we training them to think on their feet? And when it comes to gender-related crimes, how are they trained to handle them? In this kidnapping story, one of the family members related to us that when he told the police that he couldn't find his daughter, the police's response was, "Oh, she's probably gone to see her boyfriend and she'll be back." Is this in our culture the way we see the treatment of girls when issues like this come up? Because I'm asking myself, if a father went into a police station and said he couldn't find his son, would the first response be that he has gone to see his girlfriend? And so we're having a conversation on the mindset of our police in relation also to gender issues. But before we get into that and before I introduce my guest, take a listen to this.
Me catch up and I'm a one no maybe a message here in Nigeria, New York has an for me, my I did. This one man to he said, when women doing the minimum. Miss Lagana, and I, Miss Lano. Me here no way. Me here could be one way. Maybe I may say be allowed. But the pictures in your attitude and me other more than pictures attitude. Uncle could be allowed. Miss so be allowed. Miss so be allowed one more. I did know.
Have tried all men to talk to him. He only took us to Kaswa. We went and combed the whole of Kaswa. He could not be able to lead us to where the victims are.
You've had him in custody for 17 days.
Yeah.
And he keeps leading you to the wrong places.
Yeah, he's not ready even to talk.
A lot of people have said that the police has not shown any serious level of competence, urgency in finding these people because it's taken too long.
That is the wrong perception about whatever we are doing. You must use tactics. You must be when the person stops. What can we do? You cannot subject him to inhuman treatment. So if someone is saying that police not do, I don't know what they want us to do. They have procedures as far as all some of these issues when they come on board. We are to, first of all, be in the position at least to see how best these pictures can be. Initially, it is not good just to put out the pictures unless, of course, you chance to go into investigation for some time. And you have established some evidence to show that at least you cannot get these victims. Then you can even have them gazetted and you publish. So that is the first thing you have to do.
Yes. So my fundamental question. I mean, just to cut a long story short, the people are missing, and from the interview granted earlier today, I think this was brought to your attention. I think in August, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes, it was in August.
In August, that's 5 months ago. I'm asking, have you circulated? I mean, the girls are missing. All you want now is to find them. You need help to find them. I haven't seen a picture of these girls circulating anywhere that if I find the girl hanging in my neighborhood, I will notice who she is. Why haven't we done that 5 months on?
As I explained to you earlier, if you don't, this is a kidnap case we are investigating. It is important to have something to put your hands on before you circulate if the stigma associated with some of these things, so you must consider it. The trauma the girls are going through. So it is not just good to put the pictures out like that.
Mr. Dejo, you are looking for missing girls. It's been 5 months. Everywhere in the world, when people are missing, the best allies you have in tracking and locating them is the public. Somebody might find somebody sitting in the car and might look at the person because I've seen a picture that the police is circulating, will call you and say, I have a tip for you. You're saying to me that 5 months on, you haven't found enough evidence to circulate the pictures as widely as possible?
What do I want you to realize that this is a kidnap case? And added to that, the parents beforehand were paying money to these kidnappers before informing us. So, in fact, we have to take time and see to it that the appropriate things are done before some of these things are done. As I'm talking to you too, if you
what do you need, Mr. Dejo, to simply circulate the pictures across the country?
Sometimes they have been done. Even the pictures were even in Daily Guide.
The pictures were in Daily Guide. You put it there, or Daily Guide decided to do it themselves?
Well, they came to us. We gave it to them for the story.
So Daily Guide came to you, not the other way around. Not the police taking the initiative and saying, every media organization in Ghana, these are the pictures I want.
Initiative and invited them, and we gave the story to. But it was the divisional commander who even gave the story up.
Has the Greater Accra Police, the headquarters of the National Police, have they taken over the case?
The case is still being investigated at second week.
Police is there. Let me ask you, sir. At this moment, our only interest is helping you. When I say our, public's only interest is helping you find the girls. When are we going to get the police official mark shots of these girls? We will use our medium, and everybody else listening will circulate it on social media, etc., so we can help you find the girls. When can we get these pictures that you back?
You'll get them this evening.
Okay. 5 months on, we'll get them this evening. However...
No, what I want you to realize, I have tried to explain myself, but it looks like the man you call is not very satisfied with what we have done.
No, I mean, at least we are making progress. We'll get them this evening. We'll work with that. I understand you're holding a press briefing tomorrow. Will this further help with the circulation of the pictures? And you've told us already that you hit a brick wall with this guy in your custody. And the question was asked, what else is the police doing? Specifically, can you tell us what else you're doing?
I don't think that ought to come to public domain. What else we wanted to do with this issue? But we all apologize because we need to keep a lot of things to our chest so that we can be able to get to the bottom of this issue.
Are you restricting your search to Ghana or to the sub-region? Or expanding into the sub-region?
Because we cannot restrict ourselves only to Ghana. This is Nigeria who is involved, so we don't know what happened.
You say you cannot torture him to get information, understandably, because the law is against that. So I'm just wondering, have you reached out for help in the Western region? The Ghana Police Service is a big institution to try other means of getting this gentleman to speak, the psychologist, etc. What else have you tried?
We are still investigating. So it's not good for me to put it saying all that we have done. I believe you will bear with me.
No problem. Mr. Dejo, we just heard from the families. They're distraught, they're in despair, etc. What do you tell these families who can't find their daughters? The daughters have been kidnapped. It's been 5 months for some. What do you tell them tonight? Some of them are listening to you. Speak to them directly. What do you tell them?
No, I have invited them several times. Even last week, I invited them. They refused to even to come.
Because they've lost faith in your ability to help them find their daughters. I'm asking you tonight, what do you tell them listening to you tonight on radio?
They should have the confidence in the police that we get to the bottom of this issue.
And that was the voice of the Western Regional Police Commander, DCOP Redeemer Vincent Dejo, as he spoke to Evans Mensah last night. And he said we should have confidence that the police is working on this case. 5 months later, it took pressure from us to finally get their pictures out there so that we can identify them. I don't know how we're expected to have confidence in a situation like this. But before I bring in my very important guest to have this conversation, I'd just like to go to Raymond for a second. Raymond, what's crime looking like? Are we going overboard with this, or do we really have reason to be worried?
Okay, let's look at just, of course, robberies generally because of the general police talk. And I want us to first, I can give you up to yesterday the figures that the police have, but let's go as far back as comparing the periods. And I'll just skip to not even the monthly ones, but the years. In 2015, in total, there were 1,371 robberies. In 2016, there were 1,391 robberies. Now, in 2017, the number increased to 1,772, and in 2018, it was 1,909. So, 1,919 for the record. So, over the last, 4 years, 2015, 16, 17, 18, we've had 6,459 robberies. But you see, there's been a slight increase over the period. So, 1,371, 2015. 1,397, 2016, 1,772, 2017.
So almost 400 cases more.
Then there were 200 more in the year 2018, 1,919. That is actually for that period. But as I did tell you, I'll bring you to the last few days in this month, in the year 2019. As of yesterday, so between the 1st of January and the 7th of January, it was 18 robberies. Now, between the 8th of January and the 14th of January, that's the second week, it was 16 robberies. Now, if you push it to the 15th to the 22nd of January, we had 21 robberies. Total, up until yesterday, the 22nd, there were 55 different robberies reported on police record as we speak. So that's the difference in this particular case. I mean, of course, the number was lower compared to the same period last year, if you want to do that particular comparison. But that's basically it. Now, if you also check, and of course, the Statistical Service released the DOPS report of 2016, which really collected data as far back as 2015. And it talks about which Ghanaians are experiencing which form of violence and all of that. So generally, it says that the people we surveyed, 71.5% for women and 71.7% reported experiencing some form of violence. And this report was published in 2016, but really the actual survey was done in 2015. It said that 71% of women and 71.4% of men reported some form of violence. Now, if you break it down, you'll see that when it comes to social violence, 41% of women reported that, and men 34%. Physical violence, 42.4% and 50.8% for men. Now, 30% of women surveyed in that particular report reported sexual violence compared to 23% of men. And when it comes to psychological violence, 48% of women reported that compared to 51.9% of men. And economic violence had 28.2% of women reporting that, and a lower number reporting for, the men. Apart from all the things I've mentioned, apart from physical violence and psychological violence, women reported way higher numbers in all of the social, sexual, and economic violence. I hope you get the difference in this case.
Yes,
so
I do.
that is what it stands in that. Of course, there's an earlier report that compared the abduction reports of, in fact, it's a DOPSU multi-year report. The reports to DOPSU about abduction. 2006, they mentioned an entire year of 6 abductions. Kidnapping, if you want to use the actual word. In 2013, it was 11. They pushed it up to the year 2015 and mentioned 17 in this case. So that's how over the period it's been increasing
growing,
in this particular case.
I mean, Superintendent Evelyn Bobo was speaking to Daily Graphic yesterday, and she was talking about the fact that there's an average of 20 cases of defilement. There's an average of 20 cases of defilement every month, 110 rape cases every month that are reported. The problem with that, however, is that the families interfere, and so these cases don't often go to court. But joining me in the studio this morning to have this conversation, I have Professor Ken Atefa. He's a criminologist, professional investigator. He's a former commissioner of SHRAG and now executive secretary of the National Identification Authority.
Just a slight correction. Good morning.
Okay, good morning, sir.
I'm a former commissioner for human rights in British Columbia, Canada.
Okay.
But a former director of investigations and anti-corruption at SHRAG.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification. And also, Mrs. Angela Dramina is a lawyer. Dramina Boaje is a lawyer, gender activist, also the executive director of the ARC Foundation of Ghana. And we had you last week here talking about the good work that you do and also getting some support to have the foundation up and running. So I have Professor Tefa, and how would you like me to address you? Angela is fine?
Angela is fine.
Okay, Angela is fine. So we have Prof and Angela in the studio. And Prof is also a lawyer, yes, which is very important. So we're going to have this conversation. I'm going to start with you, Prof, because following this story, the sequence of events of this story, so girls are abducted. It doesn't actually come out into the media until the person who is at the helm of affairs escapes from prison or from the cells. It is when he escapes that the media catches wind of this story, and then we are told that some girls have been abducted. He is in custody at the moment. He has been given the police the runaround, and so they have not been able to find any of these girls yet. We're still hoping that somehow we will find them. He's been to court. The families have reported that every time that they go to court, the focus is more on the escape as opposed to the rescue of the girls. He has stated that he deals with the money side of the issue and his brother deals with the girls. And so hence the long runaround. Is this the normal sequence of events? Is this what this should look like?
Well, there's a difference between what is and what ought to be. But there is nothing extraordinary or unusual about the phenomenon of kidnapping as a crime. Every crime is different. Every crime scene is unique. And in this case, the dynamics of the specific case that's kidnapping before us, the dynamics are a little different. But kidnappings generally follow a certain set patterns. You would have those that are engaging because the person wants ransom, which appears to be the case with the Takoradi, Sekedi Takoradi kidnappings. There are also kidnappings where or abductions where the purpose is to subject the victim to forced marriage, so that the object is not to derive some material benefit, but to exercise total control over the person and the sexuality of the victim. And generally, it is a female who is abducted. And that also cuts across different age cohorts, although it tends to be younger females, post-pubescent females who tend to be abducted. And then, of course, there are abductions that are politically motivated in order to teach a lesson, not to demand ransom, usually to hold the victim and to torture the victim to show that, yes, we can do this, and to escalate the sense of public insecurity in order to make a government unpopular, or in order to force, to engender, as it were, rebellion or adverse reactions against government. So there are different types of abductions, and in the history of this country, as excavated by the work of the National Reconciliation Commission, we've had abductions throughout the history of this nation, rather sadly. This ought not to be the case. It ought not to be the case that there is an incident, an escape, after a person has escaped lawful custody, then the matter comes to the public domain. The usual trajectory is that after a kidnapping is reported, police would conduct preliminary silent investigations, and it is often helpful if ransom has not already been paid, because once the forbidden fruit is tasted, it is very difficult for the taster to let go. That is, once ransom has been paid, there is a tendency to demand more. And so it is not the best. That's to start with. And then when the police is satisfied that they have on their hands a case of kidnapping, there ought to be a rapid publicity of the victim or the suspected, in this case not suspected, the missing person, and reporting missing persons and publishing their photographs is often an important addition to in fact, it is not even an addition, an important component of the investigation process itself. And so it would appear that in this case, there has been a rather long delay. But let me add one thing. I'm not clear. There seems to be quite some confusion about how long this has gone on. Is it one person who's been gone for 5 months? Is it a number of several abductions that all of which have lasted 5 months, or there is just one that is recent, like a week or two, and all of that? The reason that is important is that in crime analysis and in the public consciousness, there tends to be something what we criminologists call crime wave, where you have an increased reportage, sometimes of a single or a couple of unrelated episodes, say of robbery or rape or burglary or kidnappings. And because of heightened media reportage, the public mind is seized, is possessed by the idea that there is an increase in the phenomenon of that particular crime.
Would you like me to give you the figures that we have?
Yes, please.
Okay. So we've been able to verify that 5 girls are missing. The number out there at the moment is 7. Now, the first girl was abducted in August of 2018, but she came back. So she managed to escape. Then the families of 3 of these girls have issued police reports. So they have gone to the police station to say that their children are missing. That's Priscilla Crunchy, Priscilla Bentum, and Ruth Love Quason. And then there's another 2 that Joy FM have spoken to their families, and they have said that they are missing, but they have not filed a police report. And so we're following up on why. So at the moment, I think it's safe to go with the 3 girls that are missing officially. We know that Ruth Quason went missing on the 4th of December. Priscilla Crunchy went missing on the 21st of December. And we're getting in touch with the family of Priscilla Bentum to give us the specific dates. So these are the 3 that have their cases being dealt with the police at the moment.
And these are all in the Takoradi area.
Yes.
It would be interesting for, and I say this without meaning to be insensitive about it, but in order to understand what exactly we are dealing with, what kind of decks do we have, cards do we have on the deck, it would be important to study what is it about Sekondi Takoradi? And I don't want to rush to make any conjectures about that. I have some ideas in mind, but what is it about this city, or this twin city, and what is it about this time? And what are the ages of these girls, and what are their characteristics? Not that their ages or characteristics make them guilty of anything, but it's just to say that their vulnerability, their susceptibility to being kidnapped would be properly studied if we looked at who they are, what is their sociology, what kind of environment do they operate in, what is the kind of interactions, because there is always in abductions of this kind, where it is not military, it's not political, and I don't know that, but I'm just assuming, where it is for ransom, then there has to be certain vulnerability factors which the kidnappers, the evil-minded people, take into account. They are motivated offenders. They look at attractive victims and what are the components of the attractiveness. Those are things that
In
we
the
need to
case
explore.
of Priscilla Crunchy, we have been told by the family that the suspect befriended her. And so they were having very long phone calls. And so perhaps it made it easier for him to lure her out of the house to meet her. So I mean, I definitely get what you're saying on that. I'm going to come to you, Angela. Now, one of the victim's fathers said that when he went to the police station to report this, the reaction of the police was based on the age of his daughter. She's about 18. The reaction of the police was, oh, she's probably going to see her boyfriend. Do you find that this is an acceptable response to a father's desperation and pain at him not knowing the whereabouts of his child?
Extremely insensitive and very unprofessional. And it's very similar to a story I heard just yesterday because I was discussing this with my professor friend who told me that she has a friend up in the north of Ghana, a lady friend who helps the community a lot by helping young people who are in some form of distress or the other. So she had this young lady with her, 16-year-old, whom she was helping. I think she had a bit of depression or something like that. Now, she goes missing. So the lady goes to the police and says, I can't find this girl who is in my home. And the police tell her that she's probably just run off and it's very likely that she'll come back home. That's about all they told this lady. So this lady calls this Australian professor friend of mine and says, you came visiting, you like taking photographs. Do you have any photos of this girl? She said, no, unfortunately, I didn't take any photos of this person. But then my friend, the Australian professor, said, do you have any photos of this girl? She says, she was in a group. So she says, okay, send me these photos of this girl in a group and let me take a look at them. She looks at these photos, she identifies the face of the girl, and then my professor friend, crops the photos and manages to sort of extract her face from the group. And then they print it out, they send it all over the community, paste them around there. This is pure civilian action because the police was not prepared to help them. And the moment these pictures came out, the next day, the girl was back. The people, they had abducted her. There are customary practices in some parts of our country where, like Prof said, girls are abducted for the purposes of getting them married. And these two men who abducted her, the moment they found that the pictures were out there in the community, didn't want to get into trouble, so they let her go. And so if you have police response like this, especially to distraught parents and community members, how should we describe you? It is not expected. I would have expected by now, in a case like this, first of all, I am beginning to think that even if it's not the same suspect, there appears to be some people who are trying to copy. Even if I'm just conjecturing, by now there should be intervention from the police headquarters that is looking at working with other sub-regional organizations, security organizations, to find out what has happened. I would have thought by now the Interpol would be in a case like this. Maybe I'm escalating it because as a parent, I feel the pain of what has happened when you are not sure whether your daughter is dead or not. I'm asking myself, a scarf was found, some dress.
Clothes, yes.
And if it was near to where the suspect was operating, what kind of examination, what kind of forensics were done on these clothes? Okay? Because some of these things may lead to further tracking or trailing of what has happened. And I'm thinking even by now, the Attorney General's Department should be involved because kidnapping is a second-degree felony. If we call it abductions, unfortunately, in our criminal Offences Act, it's a lower crime. But kidnapping is a second-degree felony. And the reason why I would expect that even the Attorney General should be involved at this point is there a possibility of plea bargaining? If these clothes were found near where the suspect is, it means there's a possible charge of murder. We don't know that yet. But you should be able to do the kind of questioning that will let this guy understand that he could probably be going in for a very long time if he's not prepared to talk.
Yeah.
So at that level of handling, with the kind of police responses we were getting yesterday, it grieves my heart.
It does. It does. Definitely, it's terrible. But, Prof, I want to come to you for a second. How is it possible, and this is the question on the minds of everyone, how is it possible that the prime suspect in this case is in custody and we are not able to get any information about it?
Well, first of all, in throughout the world, across time and space, the bulk of crime is resolved not by the police themselves, but by citizens cooperating with the police, sharing information. That's the essence of the story that Angela just told us about what the intervention by the professor friend. The critical turning point is when the public became involved in that process, circulating photographs. Then the perpetrators, perhaps, because we don't know that for sure, the perpetrators panicking and letting go. But it is always, not always, most crimes are resolved because people provide information.
In that case,
Tip-offs.
why
Now,
did this not come out earlier? For example, why are the mugshots coming out yesterday? Why did they not engage the public earlier?
Yeah, we've talked about it. I think that was the first point I addressed, that when you asked whether this ought to be the situation, I said no.
Okay.
The photographs ought to have come out earlier, and Angela has underscored that point. So that's one item, water under the bridge. Now we have the photographs out. The second point is the suspect who is reticent in giving information. There is no way you can force him. We have to be realistic. You cannot torture him. But when you have assembled such circumstantial evidence as would incline a court to find that he is connected to the case, then that's when you begin to go to court. And I think that is when the Attorney General's department actually properly comes in. Because at this point, what you want to be sure of is that you can link the suspect to an object which belongs to the victim.
Okay.
We call it the Lockhart principle.
Okay.
Now in investigation. So linking the suspect to an object that belongs to the victim is critical, and that has been established already in this case. It is not conclusive, but it is highly probative of the offense of kidnapping or abduction. And if this person is not found, and police, after a while, has reasonable basis to believe that she is dead, and there is a period for the presumption of death, then and only then can a murder charge be properly brought against this person. And I believe, with the greatest of respect, that it is probably at that point that the Attorney General's intervention or intervention or feedback becomes most critical. Advising the police at this point, and I don't know, it is probable that all the fears that Angela has articulated have been taken into account by the police. It is possible that it has not occurred to them at all. But if they have not acted on these, it may be reasonable for them to do so. If they are doing so, then what we are asking for is an invigoration of their efforts in order to bring back these girls to their parents and to Ghanaians.
Prof, when we discovered oil in the Western region, the police said that they had gone on a campaign to make people more aware that the trends have shown that once oil is discovered in an area, crime also would apparently go up. Do you think that if in the midst of this campaign, perhaps the police did not anticipate this kind of thing, that they didn't then therefore train those who were in that area to deal with these kinds of issues urgently? Where exactly do you think we went wrong? Because we can't say that we didn't expect crime to go up.
I presented a paper at an IEA forum some time ago on managing expectations around Ghana's oil find, and that's one of the points I made. Of course, there's a reasonable basis to expect an escalation in particular types of crime, including crimes of fortune, such as this one, and opportunistic crimes generally, rising in the Secondary Takrady municipality, and then also not really achieving the expectations of jobs being created for our youth. And unfortunately, these have become the reality. I do not know whether the police did not train persons in the management of these specific kinds of crimes. I think strategic thinking on the part of the police would incline them to do what it is that you are asking. And it is not even for that locality only. All over the world, and our neighbors, Nigeria, provides us the best kind of example where there is oil discovery or wealth generation as a result of oil. There is also an injection of large numbers of people into the community, some of whom have all kinds of intentions and backgrounds. Such environments are criminogenic in essence. They produce crimes of different kinds, and vulnerability is a big factor here. Large numbers of people, large numbers of vehicles, uncompleted houses that provide hideouts, and of course, Secondary Takrady is a very easy place to ingress and egress, to get in and to get out of. And so all of the regular ingredients for this kind of crime are apparent in the Secondary Takrady. But I cannot say whether the police did not prepare in terms of lack of training. It would be so commonsensical, and therefore it would be extraordinary if they didn't.
Yes, it would be extraordinary if they didn't. Angela, I'm going to come to you. And Prof was talking about strategic thinking when it comes to how the police respond to crime. Now, obviously, and I may be wrong, but considering that all the people who have been abducted are women, this does seem to be a gender-based issue.
It is a gender-based
Do you
issue.
think that our police are equipped to deal with gender-based issues, specifically when it comes to the handling of women and the mindset that goes into how they approach issues that concern us?
You don't want to set me off on that. Well, you see, I can't say that the police hasn't tried, but I think it's a matter of commitment from the governments of Ghana. And I don't mean to talk about MPP or NDC government. It has been government after government. And there has been a problem of commitment in terms of capacity, resourcing, consistent training, policy, and even trying to be consistent about what we want. Now, let me explain. In 1998, October, the Women and Juvenile Unit was set up in Ghana as a result of a lot of advocacy that was done by a number of women's groups across the country, that we wanted a police unit that would deal with gender-based crimes in this country. Now, we were very happy when WAJU was set up. Why? Because the public was beginning to understand that the things we were talking about were actually true. Cases were being reported more and more, and a lot of these gender-specific cases or gender-based crimes were then being given to this unit. But over the years, the unit has grown, but its capacity is still little. It has been tossed from under the welfare to administration. This is at the police hierarchy. Back to CID, back to welfare. And it is refusing to let the public understand that this is a specialized unit that was set up to be trained, to be capacitized, to look at gender-based crimes. And believe you me, these are the crimes that we have the most in this country. Go by any statistics. I think your reporter talked about some of the statistics, and we know that these are very, very high numbers of crimes that happen in our country. But because we are socialized as a people to think that, these are, so somebody beat up their wife. I mean, what is this? It's normal. Rape, sexual assault. If the girls didn't want it, it wouldn't happen to them. So we normalize these crimes, and we take that kind of baggage into policy making. the domestic violence and victim support unit of the police service, if we want it to be a specialized unit, must become like a NACOB. And this is not the first time we are talking about this. We have talked about it over the years. Make them a real specialized unit that has the power and the clout to go after gender-based crimes in a more professional manner. And these crimes go from some of the things we are talking about to the customary-based kinds of practices that nobody is talking about. Yesterday, we got a story from Uganda that, some men have been arrested for female genital mutilation.
Yeah.
And somebody in your studio here was saying, to think that such abuses are happening to women even at this time. And I was saying right here in Ghana, last year there was a big consortium held of female genital mutilation. And the number of excisers who had been, converted by civil society organizations, who came and showed their tools, what they do. They brought some of these victims, and it's as though the law has nothing to do with these things. If you don't build the capacity of the police and make sure that they stay on course, we will never be able to tackle these crimes. There's still female genital mutilation going on. There's customary servitude going on in this country. There are many gender-based crimes for which sometimes you don't just know what we should do about, because I can't go and arrest somebody. I can do a citizen's arrest, but can you imagine me walking to a place in the north to arrest people who are accusing a woman of being a witch and trying to lynch her to death? This is policing, and policing that is fixed within a certain context. So that context must be understood, that context must be worked out, and the police hierarchy must begin to think of how they would make this unit a professional, specialized unit so that they can do better than they have. Do you know why I have hope that they can do that? When armed robberies were going on in this country at a certain point, specialized teams were set up. We heard of the Buffaloes unit and all of these other units, and they were quite competent. We call them crack teams. And there are times when they'll do their work so well that the armed robberies will go down for a very long time. And so it means that no matter what our challenges are, if we mean to put our mouths where, our money where our mouths are, we're able to make a difference. The people in the DOFSUs who are willing and ready to work, after they've been trained, in a year or two, they are transferred. When you ask, they'll tell you, well, they are regular police. They can be transferred to any unit or the other. How do you expect them to bring their professionalism to work on cases that take 1, 2, 3, 4 years to prosecute? Simple cases of defilement. And then when Evelyn Bobo says that family interference, that's part of the reason why we are seeing, yes, it's true, that's our context. But how do we get police trained in such a way that the family will not be able to interfere in these cases? And so we get low numbers of prosecution of defilement cases, rape cases, in this country, and it is still continuing. So I think a lot has to do with commitment by our governments, by the police hierarchy to this particular unit. The sad thing is when Ghana is reporting on human rights in this country, DOFSU is the flagship project. It's in our reports, DOFSU did this and DOFSU did that, but ask the police officers who work in DOFSU, and they will tell you the kind of challenges they have. They have to work under regional commanders, and listen to this one yesterday. If you're a DOFSU officer working under this one, what can you do about a case like this?
Prof, I'm bringing it to you. Do you think that we need a specialized unit to deal with issues like this?
I endorse the call by Angela for such a unit. I have not recently paid attention to the operations of those who have been so preoccupied with what it is I'm doing at the National Identification Authority. I've really not been a good student of the crime scene and how it is being managed. But this is a call that is not novel. It's a call that she and others have made, and alongside that she and I have made calls for the establishment of Police Complaints Commission and all of that since 1998. So it is not novel, and I endorse it. But I also have a few polishings, I think, to do about some of the thinking that we have in this country. At page 205 of my book on fighting armed robbery in Ghana, I make this point, and even though that was 2008, I think it is still valid. And I say that, quote, one of the most unfortunate developments in contemporary Ghanaian policing is the growing public expectation or insistence that the police ought to be able to solve particularly heinous violent crimes expeditiously. This expectation, which is not founded on empirical evidence anywhere about police effectiveness in using proper and conventional policing methods to discover heinous crime perpetrators who are on the run, gained considerable currency and verisimilitude following the 1998 use of deadly force by the police in arresting the killers of 2 police officers in Ablekuma, a suburb of Accra. Here I'm referring to the murder of Ninja and his colleagues. Because police went in with such ferocious force and intensity and were able to dig and remove or exhume the bodies from where they'd been buried under concrete, it increased public confidence in the idea that the police are effective and can be effective. But I think it's a misconception. As I said earlier, every crime is different, even though there may be patterns, and even though the perpetrators may have a common modus operandi. It is far easier to track down a serial killer or a person who is engaged in a string of crimes because they leave critical pieces of evidence behind and all of that. But where crimes are disparate, disconnected, not connected, and are happening all over the place, different places and all of that, the expectation that the police ought to be able to do it and do it expeditiously, that's my emphasis. It has no evidentiary foundation anywhere. But we are hurt as a public, we are fearful as a people, and we are terrified and we want solutions. And because we want solutions, and because we've seen that when it has to do with the police, they tend to exhibit a greater level of efficiency, then we demand same, like treatment for ourselves. But I think that it's as unpalatable or unpleasant as it is, that is the criminological fact about investigating heinous crimes. Less than 30% of all such major crimes around the world are solved by any police institution. And so I don't want to dampen public expectations or hopes for a resolution of these matters, but I also want to put into the conversation a dose of reality.
Okay, thank you very much for that,
also,
Prof.
When you come to professionalism.
Okay, Doc, I need to go and take some messages, and then when we come back, I'll let you have your say. It's important for us to put out there that we did reach out to the police. They have declined our invitation to be part of this conversation, and we thought that it would be necessary for them to be able to defend themselves, as it were. I'm going to take a few messages, and we'll be back to continue this conversation. This is the Super Morning Show here on Joy 99.7 FM.
I wake up in the morning, it's a new day, and I got bills that I have to pay. Now you're running late, running out of time. Feels like the world is waiting in line. All you gotta do is pick up the phone and just dial 737. So whatever you do, wherever you are, there is an easy way for everyone. The simple life is just one touch away. Experience the magic starting today. And it all begins with 737. And it all begins with 737. 737. 737.
You see, I don't need to write or cash a check. I don't need data or internet. I have something that's faster than a jet. Just like
what they're talking about. You could be a palm wine topper, a teacher, a rapper, a schoolboy, or a school girl, or a trader, a bank MD, a chairman, or a baker.
Guaranteed Trust Bank. Wouldn't you rather bank with us?
Hello, I say, how did you know? Vodafone normal 10 megabyte free data. It will call Smart Ruby Adrian. Share.
Hello, have you heard that Vodafone is giving 10 megabyte free data for every minute you talk? You just dial 50-50.
Yeah, hello? Aha! Right now, we the Vodafone people just they call plenty. Sake of us, you talk 1 minute, you go get 10 megabytes. You talk 2 minutes, you go get 20 megabytes. 3 minutes.
Call Vodafone or any network and get 10 megabytes of free data every minute you talk. It's simple. Talk to browse. The more you talk, the more data you get. Dial 50-50 to subscribe. Talk more, browse more. Terms and conditions apply.
The future is exciting. Ready?
Nationwide Medical Insurance, the leader in private health insurance, has deployed superior technology to make your healthcare experience more convenient and exciting. With the Nationwide mobile app, you can order your prescription drugs and we will deliver to your doorsteps. With over 600 dependable healthcare service providers, you're just a step away locating your service provider of choice and accessing hospital claim information in real time. Our corporate clients are guaranteed timely corporate utilization reports. We provide on-site clinics to give employees access to healthcare in the comfort of their offices. Enjoy these amazing benefits and so much more by signing on to Nationwide Medical Insurance today. Call us on toll-free number 0800-222222 or visit our website www.nationwidemh.com. Nationwide Medical Insurance. Join the healthcare family.
It's a new day. I want you to first think big, not small. Think of how great we can be when we work together. Together, we can ensure that our hard work will provide a better future. Together, we can provide a foundation for you and your business to succeed, regardless of its size. Together, we can create opportunities for all. Bank with us today and let's journey forward together. Forward together. Cowbank, forward together.
The other day, as I was in my kitchen preparing my special jollof made with lily rice for my family, I heard a knock at the door. It was my mechanic. Instead of calling me to pick my car, he brought it himself. I said, "Cho," he said, "F-O." I said, "Take the car back. I will come and pick it myself." As I turned off the fire from under the lily jollof, there was another knock at the door. It was my neighbor. I said, neighbor. He said, "F-O, my dog has jammed your wall again, oh." I said, "Don't be silly. You don't have a dog." My wife and kids came home and we saw that he enjoyed. Cho, it was my pastor. He said, "Bless you." I said, "Bless you too." He said, "Did he come to church on Saturday?" I said, "Acho, but why are you coming to tell me this on Wednesday?"
Having to fend off visitors at mealtimes because of Lele's tasty aromatic rice? Celebrate every mealtime by sharing with friends and family near or far. Lele, tasty food, happy family.
Acho. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Food and Drugs Authority.
At Afrodan, we believe that many of the problems people have with their health is as a result of the way they sit. In other words, your chair can kill you. Here's Dr. Marcus Mann of the Chiropractic and Wellness Center.
What you have to remember is that the spine is the lifeline to your body, and posture is the window to that spine. Now, posture is affected by your daily activities and habits like sitting. That's why at the Chiropractic and Wellness Centers, we recommend what I believe to be the best chairs available for preventing not only subluxations, but also other health problems that you may not be aware of. And that's Rabami and Mobilex chairs. Unfortunately, on a daily basis, I have to correct the effects of this poor sitting habit in our businessmen and businesswomen. Always remember, optimal spine equals optimum health.
So, for the sake of your health, buy Rabami or Mobilex chairs from Afrodan. We're on the first floor of the Swansea Shopping Arcade. Telephone 663-085.
Oh. And you know, my claim is not covered by the insurance policy I arranged.
Parkwesi, I've always advised you to let J&J Insurance Brokers, the insurance professional, handle your insurance to avoid gaps. At J&J, we analyze your insurance needs, we arrange cover with the best insurer with a track record of prompt claims payment, and above all, we facilitate and negotiate your claims. Call Dr. Gideon Amenyedo, the CEO, on 0244 333335 or 0504 333335. You can also email him, Gideon, at jinginsurancebrokers.com or visit our website, jinginsurancebrokers.com. j&j.com.
Thank you very much, Egenam. I'm calling doctor right away.
At J&J Insurance Brokers, negotiating a great insurance deal is our business.
Hey Ghana, are you ready for the hottest fashion looks from MRP? Mr. Price, also known as MRP, is bringing you ladies, men's and kids wear at unbelievable prices. It's the perfect time to stock up on denim, dresses, chinos and other fashion essentials. So head on over to MRP at Accra Mall, West Hills Mall, Junction Mall and Achimota Mall to get your shop on. Don't miss out. Your wardrobe will thank you.
Same great bank, helping you grow.
Do you have challenges transferring money to your friends or customers with accounts at other banks? Are you worried at the delays with other banks' checks you deposit into your account? Do you have challenges paying your workers or suppliers instantly across banks? You don't need to wait for 2 days anymore. Walk into any ADB branch today and send your money instantly to any account in Ghana, or link ADB Instant Pay to your accounting software for all salaries and payments. You can also access ADB Instant Pay service on our mobile banking app, internet banking, and star 767 hash. ADB, truly a Greek and more.
Since it's our 40th birthday at Rana Motors, we're extending the celebration with 40 days of Christmas. Join us at all our Kia showrooms and enjoy up to 22% discount and a 40-inch TV with every purchase. And much, much more. With Rana Motors and Kia, the Christmas spirit will last for 40 days this year. For more info, call 0249-911-444. Kia, the power to surprise.
Now, this very moment, it's the pulse of possibility, potential, power. It's time
to make your move.
To take that step.
The time
is now.
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 The great things you do tomorrow start with the small steps you take right now. So take that step with Old Mutual. Call us on 0302-230-638 and make now count. Old Mutual. Do great things every day.
This is the sound of a busy city. A sound of a connected city. Now, listen closely.
Goose na beduai, me chow ATM.
Yeah, try me Airtel Tigo money. That is the sound of a business owner in Techiman receiving money on his Airtel Tigo Money wallet.
Hey, Aze, mreva panya.
That is the sound of somebody who is going far away but will still stay connected to home.
In 500 meters, turn left.
That is the sound of somebody arriving at their next drop-off point with ease. And this.
Add 2 cups of flour to the mix and stir briskly for 2 minutes.
Is the sound of a business startup on its way to success. It's important that you focus on the things that matter. That's why Airtel Tigo is placing its focus on you. We put in the work and expanded and strengthened our network so that you can do the same with your network of business, family, and friends. We're here to make life simple. Join today. Airtel Tigo.
How I wish I knew where to keep my money now.
Oh, what's there to worry about? Go to the Seed Fund Savings and Loans. They are completely reliable.
Really?
Completely dependable. The Seed Fund Savings and Loans is a whole different experience. You are sure the safety of your funds because they constantly pay depositors' funds on demand. No go come, no stories.
Bing!
The Seed Fund Savings and Loans, the safe, reliable, and dependable home for your funds. Ask any Seed Funds depositor. So, stop wishing and call the Seed Fund Savings and Loans on 056 111997 or 056 111998.
The Seed Fund Savings and Loans. Safe, reliable, dependable.
Super Morning Show. Yeah.
And And it's the Super Morning Show here on Joy 99.7 FM. It's 8:52. And I'd like to say a very happy birthday to Gifty Auntie. We hope that you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. It's from all of us here at Joy FM, and especially, of course, your husband. Also, a very happy 80th birthday to my dad. I love you, Dad. And I'm glad that you're still here with me. It's an amazing blessing. Text messages on the Super Morning Show are brought to you by Afrodan. Your back must last you a lifetime. And Glyco Travel Insurance Policy, we cushion you for life. Now, the average person will sit about 75,000 hours in his working life. But as humans, we're not made to sit for extended periods of time. We're designed to be upright, walking, running, and on the move. Sitting and standing still for extended periods are very detrimental to our health. How then do we protect our health, since we must necessarily sit to work? The answer can be found with Afrodan. Afrodan is offering you today the most comfortable chair in the world, period. The Nightingale Extreme Comfort Chair. With over 10 thoughtfully engineered features, especially customized for your health and comfort, working has never had it this good. Go to Afrodan on the first floor of the Swansea Shopping Arcade and feel this chair. You will be amazed. Are you a football fan? I don't mean an average fan. I mean like a super fan. Well, if you're a real super fan, this is your chance to see your favorite teams go head-to-head live in their home stadia in the UK. Simply open a Barclays Ultimate account, maintain a balance of at least 500 Ghana cedis, and swipe to make payments with your Barclays card as often as you can to win an all-expense-paid trip to the UK to watch your favorite team go head-to-head live. You could also win a stadium experience in our local superfan penthouse and take away exciting home items and your favorite team souvenirs. Don't miss out on your chance to experience football the way it was meant to be experienced live with Barclays. Visit our Facebook and Twitter for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Barclays, part of the ABSA family. In the studio with me, I have Professor Atefa and Dr. Angela Dramina Abuaje, and we're talking about, among other things, we've been talking about the kidnapping of the Takoradi girls. We're also talking about how equipped and how well trained our police are to handle crimes, as well as gender-based crimes. We're also going to be talking about, Prof made a comment and he said that it's important, and a lot of crimes are solved in partnership with the public. So it's important that the public know how to respond when it comes to crimes that have been committed. For example, when you get onto a crime scene, what do you do and what do you not do? And Prof also mentioned about in the most recent murder of Mr. Swali, of how crowds swarmed the crime scene, and we're not saying that this may have compromised the scene, but it's important to know how to handle situations like that. And so we're going to talk about that as we progress. But just before we go into that, and I'm going to come to you, Prof, with this one. A lot of people have said in crimes like this that there seems to be a certain sort of discrimination when crimes happen to people who are deemed as important or who have money. There's a certain agency that's attached, as opposed to the ordinary Ghanaian, or perhaps the less than ordinary Ghanaian, the poor Ghanaian. How do we fix this? Is it true, and how do we fix it?
It's commonsensical in our parts of the world to think that is true, and I think that there is a reasonable basis in the evidence all around us to persuade that is the case. Surely, if a wealthy person calls the police, and the police know that the person is wealthy, their response is bound to be different. If a politically, a high-profile politician calls the police, and that depends even in the context. If it's a rural area and the district chief executive or MC in a municipality calls the police, the reaction is different. And that's why in this country, even party small boys and girls have been able to brag about how much they control the police or how the police fear them and all of that. So police response to a complaint of crime is a function of several things. It ought not to be so. It ought to be simply the probability that events occurred as alleged, that this story is not totally fanciful, that it's not a pie in the sky, that this is, a probable crime has occurred. The police investigative efforts must be triggered. However, it is the case that if the police sizes you up and they do not think that you can provide support, and I think many people complain about how the police ask them to give them transport. And so, a priori, a lot of Ghanaians think that going to report a case to the police is a burden, that they'll be caught in trouble for themselves. And so, a lot of, and the statistics that Raymond read out earlier, there is a dark figure of crime. You know, this is just a partial depiction or portrayal of what it is that is going on. A lot of crimes don't get reported because sometimes people don't even know that they've been victimized. But where they know that, for example, your money has been stolen, you don't know that it's been stolen, and yet a crime has occurred. But where a person knows and then they assess the risk or the burdens that they have to undergo, they do a cost-benefit analysis and they decide that they're not going to bother with it. It is because there is a tendency on the part of some police officers to demand bribes or to extort monies, to demand transportation, to demand paper, pen, and all kinds of things in order that they can do the investigations. In some circumstances, the police are really, they have their backs against the wall. They do not have the basic things, let alone the essential accoutrements, in order to go to the field to do the investigation. And they tend to fall on the victim complainant. So you get doubly victimized. You get embarrassed when people ask you for money you do not have, especially when the people are supposed to help you. And therefore, people get reticent going to report. So yes, there is a high probability that police will respond with efficiency and interest and commitment to complaints coming from high-placed politicians, highly regarded persons, and those who have money. And if you don't fall into these three categories, then it is sometimes a real challenge having your case proceed smoothly in the criminal justice system, beginning with the police.
Doc, I'll come to you as well. So after you've dealt with this issue of whether you have money or whether you're influential or not, then also there's the element of whether you're a woman.
Yep.
What's that like? I mean, is it a myth or is it real?
Oh, it's real. It's real. We've come a long way, actually. You know, we had cases, some of the people that we worked with who are researchers, of cases going to the police station and a woman alleging that she's been brutalized by her husband, and the police give her water to drink and say, oh, I mean, this is a family matter. You know, we are chasing armed robbers. Please take a drink of water and go home. And it's still continuing in a certain sense in several places where cases are reported. Sometimes there's assault of a kind in it, and the immediate inclination of the police is to invite the suspect. Okay, and that's basically because it's a woman reporting. It is something that happened in the home, or there's an incident that has happened, and the basic inclination is let's invite the person who has been reported. Until very recently, when some of the leaders of our Dove suits have, begun to crack down on this, invitation was a very common practice, even where there was some sort of aggravated assault. So if you're a woman, it means that your gender is interacting with the other
things
yes,
that are
within
already not
the
working.
Context, exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to go for the Joy Business Minute, just for a minute, like the name indicates, and then I'll come back to you, and then we'll continue this conversation.
Time for the Joy Business Minute.
Karen and Charles here with the latest.
Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has led the country for the 2019 World Economic Forum annual meetings in Davos, Switzerland. He will leverage on the forum to meet with a number of world and business leaders.
4 mobile network operators in the country have filed an injunction to stop the National Communications Authority, NCA, from executing the 34 million cedi fine against them. Airtel, Tigo, Glo, MTN and Vodafone are praying a tribunal to nullify the fine imposed on them by the NCA for alleged poor network services.
Energy analyst Dr. Eric Efa is calling for a rigorous investment into modern technology for the energy sector. He warned that individual investment in solar energy can affect the sustainability of ECG.
And chairman of Chinese tech giant Huawei has warned that his company could shift away from Western countries if it continues to face restrictions. Speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Liang Hua said the firm might transfer technology to countries where we are welcomed.
More updates to come
at 3:06.
That was the Joy Business Minute. Thank you, Daryl and Karen, for that. So just before we went, Angela, you had the mic, so I'm going to come back to you.
Yes. So this is a phenomenon that's well known and which we've complained about ad nauseum, about the way in which women are treated when they go to the police, women and girls, and also the fact that the police actually like to bring in the social context, so they easily allow family to interfere sometimes. They easily let family say that, okay, we want to withdraw the case. It's more convenient when you have to investigate such issues and also especially when they suspect that maybe the parents have already taken money. If it's a sexual-based crime, for example, the parents have taken money from the suspect, but because the suspect is not paying, that's why they've come to report. So sometimes instead of divorcing the aspects of the cases, they just add it all together and say, because this happened, that is why, we also proceeded in this manner. And so we have complained several times, and I'm hoping it's going to get better. But I think if there's tightened supervision, if there is more, of course, we don't call for just for more training, but we ask also that transfer policies be made in such a way that those that are trained are retained for a long time. That we can't also run away from the fact that, when you come to gender-based crimes, they are multidimensional. You are not just looking at the law and the criminal aspect. For example, somebody has been defiled or somebody has been beaten up. You have to take them to the hospital
as well.
When they go to the hospital, they are made to pay for the police medical report. This is something that we've asked the Ministry of Gender to work with the Ministry of Health at ministerial level to resolve. The domestic violence law, if it comes to domestic violence, says that if you're accompanied by the police, you're supposed to get free medical, the tests, and then also the treatment. You're supposed to get it. Why don't they just resolve it by putting it into NHIS? Because even if the police wants to do the right thing, they hit, a roadblock when they get to the police, to the hospital. They are unable to pay for the victims. The victims are unable to pay, and that's the end of the matter. Okay, so there are certain things that clog the system, and some of these things are not are really about money, resources from the government. It's simply a matter of monitoring what is happening and bringing the corrections by policy action, and so on and so forth. We have pretty good laws. We have a pretty good policy when it comes to gender-based crimes and so on. We should just look at it again and begin to make sure that we are implementing well. And for now, we have major issues with implementation in this country.
Yes, it appears like we do. And I'll come back to you a little bit later so that we can have a bigger conversation on the inherent value that we place on women in our society, which then determines how some of these things are dealt with. But Prof, I'm going to come to you. And earlier on, you did talk about the partnership between us, the public, and the police in terms of solving crimes quickly. So if I let's say I chance upon a crime scene, or I chance upon something. For example, if I was in Medina last 2 weeks when Mr. Swale was killed, what should I do and what should I not do to enhance the investigation process?
Yeah, so first let's begin with what the investigator would be interested in.
Okay.
So that we understand the principles or practice issues that are relevant here. The first thing is the police want to be able to recognize and gather physical evidence that will be relevant to the investigation going forward. They want to be able to document. Secondly, they want to document what is going on or what has happened and what they discover. They want to also be able to properly collect the evidence and they want to be able to package the evidence, and they want to be able to preserve it, and they want to be able to reconstruct the crime scene if necessary. So those are the 6 things: physical evidence recognition, documentation, proper evidence collection, packaging of the evidence, preservation of the evidence, and crime scene reconstruction. As I've indicated earlier, every crime scene is unique, and all of these elements may not apply. So when you chance upon a crime scene as a civilian, as a non-professional, you do not want to engage in any conduct that has the potential to interfere with any of these, especially the physical evidence recognition. You take, for example, an accident scene. Well, not an accident scene, a murder scene. Somebody is badly damaged. Our human instinct, first tendency is to grab the body, turn it over, if the body is lying supine or whatever, turn it and try to assist. In the process, not only may we hurt the victim because we are not trained in how to handle injured persons, so we may aggravate the physical condition of the person if they are still alive. But we may also, in the process, contaminate the crime scene, the environment, with our footwear that, because each footwear will lead you to even the manufacturer, and the footprint, from the shoe will lead you to that. The lorry ties that were there. We walk across the place and then we interfere with the make of the tires that were on the grass or in the mud or even on the road. Mm-hmm. The police have the capacity to pick up those things. So you want to conduct yourself like that. If it is at all possible, it's a call that you make to the police. I know that making a call is not the easiest thing sometimes in this country. I know because at the National Identification Authority, sometimes you are printing and there is data. It's not transmitting because you are relying on a telecom facility and cards are not printing. I know because you call your one phone with the other number and it says that you are switched off. So there are frustrations at the crime scene potentially, but there's also the reality that if you interfere, then you make the work even more difficult. So if you chance upon a crime scene, the first thing you want to do, make a call to the police or other bystanders who can come and assist, but not to interfere. Now, what is the assistance? The assistance is first to assist the victim and prevent any changes to the victim. Assisting the victim means that if, for example, the victim is lying in such a position as would, for example, sitting them up or lying them down is better than sitting them up. Somebody has fainted, and then our first tendency is to lift the person up, whilst if you allow them to lie horizontal, you have a better chance of preserving their lives. So assist the victim and prevent any changes to the victim. And if you can assist better, if there is the suspect in the neighborhood or around the place and you can effect the arrest of that suspect, then you are encouraged to arrest the suspect and so that they don't escape from the crime scene. Now, there is also the encouragement to have witnesses remain. Now, somebody will tell the story, and then they tell you and then they leave. Now, it becomes hearsay, and the probative value of it becomes a little weaker as you go up the chain. And so it is important for witnesses to remain and tell their stories directly to the police. So these are the first responders. And then, of course, it is important to also keep the witnesses separated from each other in order to preserve their objectivity. Yeah. That's critical. And then, of course, you do not, to the extent possible, that is speaking to the police, you do not, take the witnesses back to the crime scene, if at all possible, until you've gathered sufficient evidence. The English have a saying, the murderer always returns to the crime scene. And you do not want your witnesses going to the crime scene. You want to observe the crime scene for a long time because willy-nilly your the murderer would want to come and lurk around in order to see
what's going on,
what's being discovered. Now, so it is important. And then for police officers, one of the things that is so embarrassing and difficult is to see a case that seems like an open and shut case. Bungled by the police, not deliberately, but out of incompetence or negligence. And those are key things. If police prove themselves negligent, deficient, or overzealous, they may miss some of these very important principles in logistics management, in victim management, the management of technology, the management of information. All of these are things, ingredients of successful crime scene investigation or management. And police tend to sometimes miss these ingredients. The last point I want to make is at a crime scene, you are not to eat. Basic. You are not to eat, you are not to drink, you are not to smoke. Now, after a while, standing around a crime scene, people begin Ankara, orange, and then, you eat and you throw your orange around.
So you're now adding to.
Now, the criminal probably ate an orange and dropped the orange there. The fingerprints are on all kinds of objects there. You are compounding the investigative work of the officer. So you are to refrain. Your smoke can interfere. The chemicals, with crime scene. If a body has been there for a couple of days, when the police come, there are forensic entomologists. The insects at the site, the what's gogomi in English?
Worms, maggots.
Yeah, the maggots. They pick up these and they can tell the age. How long the body has been there, whether the blood is dried and whether it's become crispy and all of that, and then the leaves. There's so much at the crime scene that keeping your distance and not introducing sprays and chemicals and all kinds of things onto the scene assists the police better. In our environment, our pro-social behavior, our tendency to be altruistic, to help people quickly, and all of that tends to interfere. I'm not saying thereby that citizens should not help. It is the duty of a citizen under law to stop and assist, especially even, say, an accident. Now, how sure are you that an accident is an accident simpliciter? The accident itself might have been staged. The accident itself may be a result of a crime. Somebody was shot at, and then they lost control of a vehicle and they crashed. It is important that our assistance be guided by the important principles that that would help the police. So, to the extent possible, take a log. You are there. You can make a record. That is what Ghanaians do so well. They do well by recording the crime scene, but they are recording it with their mobile phones usually by way of taking photographs. That is of little probative value. But making a record, the time you got there, that's what you saw, who was leaving the scene, and who you talked to, and all of those things that are important. That's what the police is generally interested in, because they want to be able to link the physical evidence at the scene to a person and to the victim, to a suspect or to a victim. And these are critical. If any of these ingredients are missed, the investigation may be compromised.
Prof, when a woman has been raped and the crime scene is her body, and she walks into a police station and she reports it, and the police officer says, sit down, drink some water, we'll deal with this. How does that compromise that crime scene? And are we even equipped to handle? There was an argument last week across a few people, and we were asking, are there even rape kits in Ghana? Do we have that kind of... Do we have them? So when a woman comes and she says this, do you have the equipment to test? To take if semen dries up in how many hours or so, and you're not attending to it. So when the crime scene is a human being, how do you manage that crime scene?
Okay, first of all, the crime scene is not just and cannot be just the woman. Okay, I think we call it corpus delictus. Corpus delictus. Yeah. Okay, so the rape took place in a certain setting. That environment in which it occurred constitutes the crime scene. Now, the first thing, one of the things I didn't mention, if it is the police that is the first responder, the police is supposed to cordon off, to barrier the place with a police tape or with their vehicles or some other objects that would, basically say no-go zone or area. The victim, that is the woman who has been raped, her body, her physical body, contains numerous pieces of evidence. The touch, the grip, if there was force, because rape is not only when force has been used, but if, for example, she's been deceived, if she's been, so that consent is vitiated, or if poison or some chemical was used to compromise her ability to resist and all of that. So you would find that, but you may also find in the fingernails of the perpetrator hair pieces, in follicles of the body, all kinds of things. Now, so when the woman walks to the police station or even reports the crime a day later, because that's when she woke up, 2 days later, that's when she was able to access the police because it happened in a remote area, or it happened in an airplane, and it is only when they touched down 8 hours later. The fact of the matter is that of course, the longer it takes, the greater the difficulty the investigators face. But it is also the case that professional investigators have been trained to meticulously and patiently ask the kinds of questions and look for the kinds of tiny pieces of evidence that would enable them to do the crime scene reconstruction that I talked about earlier, if that is necessary. As for taking semen swabs and having it tested in a forensic lab, that is the easiest part of the job because it is just like what nurses do and all of that. It's taken a while. The event is gone. I mean, the event took place a while ago, but the gathering of that kind of forensic evidence from the suspect, if the suspect is available, is not the most difficult aspect of that kind of investigation. It is rather getting that suspect and linking the suspect to the victim, and you may do so by an object he left behind, a handkerchief, or left behind a cigarette butt that he smoked and threw away, or he was sipping something and left the can 50 meters away. Those are from the crime scene. Those are the kinds of things that investigators are interested in looking at and linking to the suspect. So yeah, those are the things that I can think of the top of my head.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof, for that. We're going to take a few messages, and when we come back, we're opening the phone lines. The number is 0302-216-541. 0302-216-541. I'm asking you, how safe do you feel, and what are your thoughts about how the police is handling this case of our tardy girls? Stay tuned.
Foreman, how can I say the screening be smooth, perfect, where it drive fast like that?
Contractor, I always tell you, say, interface self-leveling screen be the best solution. It drive fast, where they make the job neat. In fact, it pass analog. This be original digital interface self-leveling screen.
Hey, babe, I hear you, Interface man.
Interface Limited is the leading supplier and installer of finishing input materials for the building and construction industry in Ghana. Call us on 0274-999999 or visit our website at www.interfacelimited.com.
Ma, I'm going to the bank to deposit some money. I'll be back soon, okay?
Go Kofi, with all that has been going on, are you still going to deposit money at the bank?
Oh, ma, don't worry at all. I keep all my money at the bank and it's safe. The Bank of Ghana has taken some bold measures to strengthen our banks and protect our money. This will ensure that the banks have more capital to do their business and are better governed so that they can protect the money we entrust to them. Banks will also be able to provide better services to their customers and support more businesses and the economy as a whole.
Wow, Kofi, that is very good. We should continue to keep our money in the banks and not take them to unlicensed institutions which promise us the moon and yet run away with our money. Kofi, go and deposit your money at the bank and come back quickly for your lunch. Their punchy cracker is almost ready.
Bank of Ghana, promoting a safer and resilient banking system.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shandonia Garden is massive. Hey, what's that over there?
It's a plant tennis court, swimming pool, and a gym coming soon.
And the houses, unique in their own way.
Okay, darling, wait till you see ours.
What?
Why?
Wait.
Now tell me, what do you think?
Oh, just so serene. Thank you. I love you.
Visit our luxurious gated community at Shandonia Garden off the Tema Highway. Our lands are fully titled and litigation-free with flexible payment plans you can afford. So let us bring you to Shandonia Gardens, where your dream lands. Contact us today on 0302 732529 and 0302 765436 or visit us at shandoniaproperties.com.
Adjudged Group Private Health Insurance Provider 2018 by West Africa Healthcare Excellence Awards, Vitality Health Insurance offers corporates varied all-inclusive healthcare plans. Our plans are customized to meet your corporate needs with prompt claims payment as our hallmark. Excellent customer service is guaranteed you by Vitality. Vitality, we ensure reduction of fraudulent claims leading to reduced medical bills. Why stress yourself when you can outsource your healthcare administration to Vitality's experts? Call 026 65 73200 or 050 60 99 800 or visit www.vitalitymh.com. Vitality Health Insurance. Enjoy good health with Vitality.
So everyone says I'm a Kosia filler, but it's not like I'm nosy or go out to find out the latest filler. It's just that I get 50 megabytes of data free after paying for only the first minute of every call. And so I just keep discovering stuff minute after minute. That's how come I was minding my business, scrolling through my timeline, and I found out Coco has a new baby. Oh, and last week, I learned Ken won the lottery. You see, Ken is my brother's friend. So hello, look who's about to roll with the rich and famous.
Enjoy even more value with MTN Free After One. You only pay for the first minute of your call on MTN Free After One, and the rest is free. Plus, you enjoy free 50 megabytes worth of data to browse your favorite sites. Compare where, compare 10. So dial *315# to sign up. We day for you everywhere you go. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Joy 99.7 FM. You're tuned into the Super Morning Show. And unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to Prof. Atefa. He's leaving the girls in the studio. Yeah. and the conversation continues. Also, the phone lines will be opened in a few seconds. 0302-216-541. We're taking your thoughts on what's going on in Takoradi. But Prof, just before you go, yesterday I was speaking to Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu just about this issue as well. And she said, sometimes we put ourselves out there. We'll put on social media that I'm going, a picture, I'm dressed up, I'm going here, from here, I'm going here, from here, I'm going here. And we put out pictures of our children in their school uniforms, and we put ourselves out there. And in a certain way, social media has made us perhaps a little bit more susceptible to crime. So I'm asking you, how are some of the ways that we can stay safe and still be on social media? Just by the way.
Yeah, I mean, Prof was right, and good morning, Prof, if you're listening to us. The social media phenomenon, one of the most amazing developments of the last century, and in a positive sense, but also one development that is making us all a little bit insane, making us all so super addicted to the things that don't really matter to our lives the most, and yet we come to define them as important. So people cannot work because they are addicted. People cry when they are not their friends are not linking up with them. People get depressed
based on the number of likes. Yep.
The number of likes. It's all a little unwise, However, if you project yourself, if you get into these cyber relationships and develop cyber emotions and have you abandon all the little good principles or rules that grandma told you when you were young or that your parents taught you. Be careful. Don't speak to strangers. It doesn't mean that be unfriendly, but it means that be cautious. Vulnerability is the single most important factor in crime, in victimization. I think we may list them as your attractiveness as a target, whether it is rape or armed robbery or burglary, and I'm not justifying it, don't get me wrong. I'm simply saying that the victim defines you as attractive. Your attractiveness means that you are loaded, you have jewelry on you, or you are carrying a bag that looks like it has money in it, or you, in their mind, you are physically appealing, but that must also coincide with your manifest vulnerability. If your appearance conveys the image of someone who is timid, someone who lacks confidence, someone who is already afraid, then you are more likely to be targeted. So vulnerability, attractiveness. Then there is also lack of capable guardianship measures. If it is your home or office, it means that there are no security cameras, there are no barbed wires, there are no watchmen or security guards, that sort of thing. If there is a security guard in front of the bank, he is asleep, he's docile, he's easily distracted by a beautiful woman walking in, he looks at women's high heels or whatever, and therefore loses focus. That's not capable guardianship. And so, it's the same with you walking. You are inattentive, you are on the phone, you are not paying attention to what is around you and all of that. So safety tip, be alert to your environment. Be discerning. Don't put out all of these ridiculous messages about, what you had for breakfast and what you are going to wear and all of these are completely unessential to your being. And if your sense of well-being depends on people putting a cyber liking to you, you need to be seeing a shrink. I think that a lot of us are getting ourselves sick and unable to focus attention on what is important. But the last factor in criminal victimization is that there must be a motivated offender. And the motivated offender is that person who has defined his or her circumstances as needing redemption. And so it is poverty, I want to get out of it. I am sexually starved, I want to get out of that situation. I want to have a car that, I can't pay for. All of these kinds of things. And they are highly charged, motivated to want to do that. That is different from the opportunistic criminal, the guy who was walking about, and then all of a sudden saw a lady at the corner, she looked attractive or she looked vulnerable, and then snatched her bag. But this one is planned, purposeful. And the kinds of crimes we have seen reported this January, all of these are purposeful crimes. They are meticulously planned by the persons, of course, except the lady corporate affairs boss of Ghana Ports and Harbors, that we don't have all the
information yet,
to conjecture whether this was armed robbery gone awry or whatever. But I suspect that this was a sexual attack, But if it was a sexual attack, it wasn't a spontaneous thing. It was planned, methodical, and all of that. We need to better secure our persons. We need to, and I'm not blaming the lady, and I'm not, I don't want to pile any pain on the families. I'm just saying that for us, the living, it is important that we ensconce ourselves in the assurance, in the comfort of live human beings as friends. Keep good human company. Let human beings be around you. Have good friends. Walk in pairs and in trials. Reduce the lonely lifestyle or the aloneness that we tend to find ourselves in, and enhance capable guardianship measures. We build castles around our homes. You can't see what is lurking behind you.
Yeah.
Have walls that are perforated so you can see, if at all, what is
going
outside.
on outside.
And then your capable guardianship measures include, high security. Your doors must be proper doors with proper locks, and make sure that they are, at minimum, you delay penetration. That buys you time
to call out and all of that. Yes.
Thank you so much for your time, and good morning to your listeners.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prof, for joining us this morning. We're very grateful. The conversation continues. We're going to take a few messages, and then the phone lines will be open 0302 216 541. And I'm asking you this morning, do you feel safe? And what do you make of the police action so far in bringing back the Takoradi girls? Thank you all for your text messages. There's so many of them, and we'll get to them as soon as we come back from taking these messages. Dr. Dramina Abuaji is still with me in the studio, and so we will continue to talk about this issue, and perhaps we'll talk a little bit more about things that concern us, so more gender-based issues. Stay tuned. This is Joy 99.7 FM.
Kofi, yankwada adiasa.
Mamina hakakra, enchemeba.
Entuntum wa hapao. Minji ndisa opesa o yare biu.
Sweetie, me ya yare o. Mi ti Ode mesrew. Unko drugstore ho unko pedro bi mreme.
Ade na wo ma yanko hospital. Eho de ye be hu ade pot na eyo na doctor ahweso ama wano adru.
Eye pa se Kofi ko hospital ma doctor hwe hunu de na eha no pot ma no adru pepepe. Nipa bebre ne firi omu pemu koto adru wo pharmacy shop wo bra won hwehwe hunu ade eha wo mo. We betimi di sunsun aso bone aba omo apomuden so. Enye fever bia na ye malaria.
Anti nurse ni ma ye malaria test no. Ane Kofi wo malaria ampa.
Doctor actually say Kofi infa ACT.
Kofi, bomodia se ubefa ACT edro no. Se ni ayatre wo no pepepe.
Odo eye pa se bae. Medro ni aka ni o. Manom se ni esi kire me pepepe. Na onim bribi.
Eji sa wo ka kire me.
Efi ene ekọ no. Ye fi ha de ye ne malaria to kwanta ya pai kra.
Asem de. Na mama bi sa wo anadri. Ehifa ena obeda.
Wa wunim. Medo se de mosquito net ayahye na dro no. Eno nko ase ne beda. Abrabapa boni ye eye da bia adeyo. Enkan boy if Ghana Health Service any USAID eho.
Since inception, almost 100% of Ashesi University students have found jobs, started businesses, or gone on to graduate school within 6 months of graduation. From Accra to Nairobi, London to New York, Ashesi graduates are noticed and they are leading successful careers. If you dream of a rewarding life and career, an Ashesi education prepares you for just that. Learn more about applying to Ashesi at www.ashesi.edu.gh. Remember, admission is ongoing.
It's the year of the car owner with Enterprise Insurance. Just dial *714*556#. Choose update your details, follow the prompts, and voila! You are in for surprises that will make your head swell big. Surprises like mobile data, useful car insurance tips, and many more. Remember, updating your details even helps to speed up the claims process. Car owner, this is your year. Insure with Enterprise. Dial *714*556# and update your details now.
Enterprise, your advantage.
Big Bond Roofing Systems have become the talk of the building industry. People from all over the world are talking about us.
I'm in Ghana for the past 20 years as a contractor, and I can say that Big Bond Roofing System is the game changer in the market. High quality, durable, strong, beautiful, and no leakage.
Wagwan, my brethren, what we like about Big Bond is them lovely colors and patterns. They will meet your budget with flexible payment terms. You don't know? Architect Uche, tell them.
Una don't hear? Big Bond they here again, no? Make una take advantage of their special 10% Xmas discount
month from November to complete your home. Locate Big Bond Roofing System in Accra at North Industrial Area adjacent Old Melcom. As a day here, I dey carry some go Port Harcourt for my project too.
For free estimates, speedy production, transportation and installation, call us on 0302 268 261 or 0501 290 390 and in Tamale, Sangani on 0372 022 405. Big Bond Roofing Systems. Durable, beautiful, and affordable.
The menace and impact of Galamsey has affirmed the urgent need to secure Ghana's natural heritage and water sources for our well-being today and that of generations unborn. Against all odds, we need to secure Atewa Forest, the source of 3 major rivers, providing water services for at least 5 million Ghanaians and home to rare and beautiful wildlife. Join us for the Atewa exhibition, which launches on Wednesday, the 30th of January 2019 at 2 p.m. at the British Council Auditorium, Accra, and will stay open from Thursday, the 31st of January to Saturday, the 2nd of February 2019 from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily under the theme Securing Atewa for Prosperity and Well-Being Beyond Today. Admission is free. This event is under the kind courtesy of our Rocha Ghana and partners. This exhibition is also supported by the Multimedia Group, Graphic Communications, Sign Language, and powered by Carbon AV.
Biara wa melkom Luciano le melkom Nofiano ye melkom. What are you looking for? Melkom got it all. Great discount, dodo. Yamafia so. Best bargains on our days. Everything here is a bargain. High quality, goods be a priority. So tell your mom, tell Poppy, tell your actually everybody.
Oh 037-2022-405 in Tamale or 050-129-0390. You can also visit our office in Accra, the North Industrial Area, and Tamale in Sangani. Big Bond Roofing Systems Limited, durable, beautiful, and affordable. I would also like to say a happy birthday to Mrs. Joyce Odro, CEO of Unirob Pharmaceuticals. A happy belated birthday, and may God grant you long life with good health from all of the Multimedia Group Limited. And also a happy birthday to Mary Akufo, former librarian at the Kofi Annan Peace Center. And I'm going straight to the phone lines now. I have Samuel from University of Ghana, Legon. Samuel, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, and you?
I'm great, awesome. So tell me, how do you feel, and what do you think about how the police has been handling this case?
It's a problem. It's a problem for the country. And now, I don't know whether I should call it a panic or a fear, because now if you are walking by the roadside and someone is following up on you and you are scared, at least you should be able to walk by the closest police station and say, hey, this person and this person is following me and I'm scared. But that is where you go and then a policeman or a policewoman will say, did he try to touch you? Or did he try to do... I mean, we don't find any kind of security, like safety, because even if you are driving and you find someone following you too much, you could park by a police barrier or a police office or police station and then feel safe. But this is the police that we have there protecting us, and in the news you find they are involved in armed robbing. In the news you hear they are connected to this case, they are connected to that. I mean, our police can do a lot better. We are proud of them. We know they have the love on their heart to work for the nation. That is why they've gone through that hectic training. But when they come out as police to protect the citizens, they are also citizens, we know. They should do better. They should do better. I don't know if this is the time that they should work with the armed forces. This is the time that they should come together as a unit and handle certain cases. This is the time we've gotten somebody who have kidnapped 3 girls. I don't know if I'm correct. And he has been in custody for a whole lot of a month or over, and we can't get anything from them. We can't get anything from him. What do we do next?
Okay.
These are the things that we need from them.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much for calling. We have Ernest from Amasaman on the line. Ernest, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay, what are your thoughts?
Yes, with regards to this kidnapping incident in Takrady, I think the police have not done well at all. The question I ask myself, that if any of these girls were to be a family member of this police commander, is that the way he would have gone about the investigation? You see, and then with regards to that investigative journalist Menda, for me, I blame Anas for that death. You are into this business with this guy, and the area the guy lives in, you don't even have security cameras there. The car the guy drives in, you don't have security cameras there. Come on, I blame Anas. Seriously, I blame Anas for the death of this guy. And let's deal with our police guys. Please, if they are not ready, they should quit that job and allow different people to come and then police the system. You ask police to go on the street with motorbikes, and they are not chasing criminals. They are not looking out for criminals. They are rather looking for drivers whose car documents are suspect. They accosted you in a corner and they take bribes from you. We all know what Nigerians are doing in Ghana. You instead of visiting communities where these Nigerians live in, you know what they do? They.
Okay, Ernest, looks like we lost you there. We have Ronald from Adringano. Ronald, good morning.
Good morning, Nimwa.
Yes.
I hope all is well with you.
Yes, everything is good. Thank you very much. So what are your thoughts on the issue?
Well, for me, security should be paramount in our democratic dispensation. The way we are handling our security matters is appalling. If these children were to be maybe children of a parliamentarian or maybe a minister, do you think the agency that they apply to this would have been the same? No. So our security men should be up and do it, because I don't understand why I, a complainant, I go to the station to complain, and then you come and arrest a suspect, and then you leave the suspect without the complainant's knowledge. I don't know. I don't know where you go and you find this. It's only in Ghana here. I come to the station to report, and then you come and arrest the suspect. The moment I leave the station, you leave the suspect. So what do you think the person will come and do to me? It is bad. It is bad. And the police should back up.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Can I just say at this point that, yes, we do know that the suspect is Nigerian, but we're in no way stereotyping in the Nigerian community in Ghana, and it's important that we put this out there. I have Ekuya from Dansoman. Ekuya, good morning. How are you?
Morning. I'm fine, thank you.
Awesome. What are your thoughts?
Please, that policeman in the Western region, he said he doesn't know what we want them to do now. We want him to resign. If he doesn't know what he should do. If these children his, would he have sat in the office and asked, I don't know what to do now? If he doesn't know what to do now, he should resign. There are so many Nigerians in the place I live in, Dansoman. 5 meters away, we are surrounded by Nigerians. Are the customs people, those people who look after foreigners, are they aware? Do they go around to check if they have papers? Ghana is not safe now. I'm afraid. I'm sitting in the house. I'm 24 hours I'm in the house alone because the children have gone to work. The grandchildren have gone to school. We are not safe, please. The police must up their duties. Otherwise, they should resign. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I have Joel from North Kanishi. Joel, good morning.
Good morning, Nimwa.
Morning, yes.
You said we are not stereotyping Nigerians. We're making a very big mistake. This is just the tip of the iceberg. These girls are just testing. They are using these girls to test the waters. In the oil producing area of Nigeria in Warri, no life-skinned person walks the road to be kidnapped or ransom. We are just testing the waters. It's a Nigerian issue. Don't just sweep it under the carpet. This is not Ghanaian. Don't say you are not telling me. It is a Nigerian issue. Let's face the fact and stop saying we're not stereotyping anybody. They are testing the waters with these girls. Eventually, no life-skinned person will move around Takoradi area, the oil producing area. I'm telling you, it's a serious case and we are looking at it. Don't see yourself like this. It's a Nigerian issue and we should handle it head on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Joel. And like I said, we here at Joy FM are not stereotyping this issue. And we're not saying that all Nigerians are involved. Yes, the suspect may be a Nigerian, but we're leaving it at that until we have more information. I have Lukman from Teshi. Lukman, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Sister Nemu. How are you?
Good morning, Bra Lukman. I'm very well, thank you. How are you too?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you.
Okay, what are your thoughts?
Well, what I want to say is that we Ghanaians, we should give constructive criticism. We should not be criticizing Ghana police as if they are useless. At least we don't know the kind of situation that they find themselves. So at least we should give them constructive criticism and support them to do better. And there are some people who are talking as if all Nigerians that is in Ghana are criminals. They shouldn't be saying that. It's not the best. It will not help us. It will not help us as a nation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. I have my last call. It's Felix from Kumasi. Felix, good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Felix, can you please put off your radio because I can hear it.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay, talk to me, Felix.
Is it okay now?
Yes, it's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. I want to share this issue that I faced with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is this police. Actually, we have a guest house in the Volta region.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this man who always come there. During the day, this man is always indoor. At night, he goes out. We don't have any idea of what he does. So I was forced to report to this policeman to come and arrest him and question him. And could you imagine when the police arrested this man? They left this man. And the man came back warning us. So, in fact, we should be serious as a country. We shouldn't allow some things just to happen like that. It's very bad.
Okay.
And we are all scared as a country. And it's very bad. The police should be up and doing and make sure that the job which they are being paid for, they do it and they execute it very well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Thank you to all of our callers. Phone lines are now closed. I'm going to come back quickly into the studio and finish up with Doc. There are so many things that we wanted to talk about, but we also understood that it's important that we give you, our listeners, the chance to weigh in on today's issue. So, Doc, just before we go, how do we as women, how do we stay safe? How do we protect ourselves in times like this?
Well, you see, I'm usually cautious about this kind of conversation because then it almost feels as if when a woman faces these kinds of problems, then it's her fault. And that's why it's important to put the caveat there. The most important thing for me, or the first things first, the police must begin to work more seriously on community policing. I think this is something that has been started, but it always looks as though we go forward one step and then backwards 3 steps. Community policing should become a big part of our culture, and we are urging the police to do that because that's the way in which you actually are able to get people, not just women, to also keep safe. The second thing is also that public education, just like Professor Tifa did here this morning, is very important. I know there are a few police officers who put out into the newspapers and so on issues about safety and so on. It shouldn't be a one Freeman Tete kind of thing written to the whole Ghana in graphic. It's not enough. We have social media. You can put out a lot of public safety measures, you know, for both men and women, children, and all different ages through social media. Almost everybody has a way of accessing this.
Yeah.
So again, I'll put increase in public education on how people should keep safe. And also, I think that professionalism is a must. You see, it's one thing to say that a lot of crimes cannot be expeditiously solved. That's true. But when you see clear negligence or unprofessionalism, you can't excuse that.
Yes.
And we have seen cases in which the police have been meticulous. It has taken a long time, but they have done well in the very end. So I would say that when it comes to women, again, we don't want to blame women.
No, we don't.
But one of the things we want to say is that try to be in the company of others.
Yeah.
When you are going out, don't have drinks in public and leave the drink, go to the bathroom
Unattended and come back.
Come back because of the use of drugs. Some of the things that we also need to do is not to become cyber susceptible.
Okay.
The vulnerability that comes from the cyberspace when it comes to women is so high these days that I think we need to be very careful what we put out there into the cyberspace.
Thank you very, very much. I'm very grateful that you joined us this morning. That's the voice of Dr. Angela Dramina Abuaji, and she was here with Professor Ken Atefa as well. If you'd like to help us find these girls, what you need to do is go on to any of the Joy FM social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have pictures of these girls out there. Circulate them and put them on your pages. Let's find our girls. Let's bring back our tardy girls. And that's what we can do, and that's what we must do. So if you're around Kolebu, Mamprobi, Bukom, Latebia, Koshikaneshi, Accra Central and its environs, kindly visit a newly opened location at the Bukom Boxing Arena for all your banking needs and more. And there's a special surprise for any